call this evening's meeting to order. This is the regular city council meeting for Tuesday, July 16th, 2024. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Bembas?
Here.
Councilman Carter?
Here.
Councilwoman Davy?
Here.
Mayor Gillis?
Here.
Councilwoman Harris?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Martin?
Here.
One present.
Can I have a motion to excuse Councilman Williams? He's unavailable tonight.
Support. Motion support for Councilman Williams. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? He is excused. Can we have a moment of silent prayer? Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need a motion to approve this evening's agenda.
So moved.
Second. Comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have one presentation tonight. We have St. Clair County Sheriff Matt King to give his annual report and his 2024 activity report. Sheriff King?
Hello, I'd like to start out as I always do, thanking the board for allowing me to come up and speak a little bit about the sheriff and our activities over the last 6 months. Come every 6 months to give a report, but today I'm going to speak briefly on the activity of the last 6 months and then go over our annual report, which we're excited to present to the board as we have been throughout the county. So far in the first 6 months, the total number of calls for service is 2,999. Looking over the numbers, they're pretty much status quo. I see that the deputies are still staying very active on times that they're not on call for service in that assist public property check and school walkthrough category, showing that they're proactive and interacting with the public, hopefully in positive ways for the most part and in educative ways. I would like to open up any questions reference that part before I go on, or unless the board would like to just wait to the end for questions.
I do want to say something, and I'm wondering if it falls under assist public. I know that deputies have been trying to work with some of the teenagers where there seems to be a little tension, a little bit more tension this year. Which I first have to commend them because it's been a little difficult since spring. Now would those calls fall under assist public?
Yes, they would. So if they're interacting in a way that doesn't involve a call for service, which would be like a crime, you know, we had talked before about
Yes.
some of the concerns that yourself and some other citizens have, and wanting to get ahead of this energy before it turns into something negative for the teenagers and for the adults and property owners, and then, you know, starts unfortunately maybe a teenager down the path of having a record and making bad decisions, impacting those young people early so that we can create that relationship and spurn them from bad decision making. Those interactions, if self-generated, would be under assist public. Now, if there was a call for malicious destruction of property, that would obviously be under that. I think what you're talking about would be under that category of assist public.
And I've noticed that there's a lot of good kids who know that there's an issue with, cause you know, mine's 15 and a few of them have been over. And you know, we talked about it and I'm like, you know, I've told Nikolai, dude, they know who you are, you better behave. And it seems to be just a few, but the majority of these kids that I'm seeing around that age are trying to stay away from it. They will say to you, this, you know, this kid was doing this kid was, and I know that a lot of the deputies have been doing what they can, and like I said, I have a 15-year-old, I appreciate it.
I will pass that on. I think early interaction and intervention can help everybody, including those individuals making the bad decisions, right?
Yes.
So they can maybe say, you know, that's not cool, let's do it this way.
Yeah, if you got more kids that doing what they're supposed to do, then maybe some of it will make a difference to the ones who are.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have two questions, but should I ask them about individual subjects after you give the report or now? Which would you prefer?
I have no, it's up to Sheriff King.
Whatever you'd like, sir.
Well, yes, sir.
I'm in,
The fraud, what type of fraud are we talking about when we say we have fraud?
So that could be anything from, somebody, identity theft or credit card fraud, or, I'm not sure if the calls are down here, but we had a rash of people who were falling victim to the, you know, romantic, interaction on the internet, they're sending money, that would be fraud. You know,
Okay.
retail fraud would probably be under more of a larceny type thing. So we're talking about, you know, basically people trying to trick other people into giving them money or taking their credit card and using that to be fraudulent activity. So it's really pretty broad, fraud is pretty broad.
Okay, it's a situation, because we've had people before come in next door wanting to send mail to people and, or money in the mail to people, and we try to stop this, I guess. Just telling everybody out there who's watching, you know, please be careful when you ask certain asks. And the post office will never, ever send you a text about a package. We don't do that, right? You know, just piggybacking on you. The other thing is animal complaints. I assume this is loose dogs?
Yeah, usually loose dogs. It could also be if, let's say your neighbor has 25 cats and you're like, hey, you cannot have 25 cats, and you know, it's against probably, obviously, any, ordinance, but obviously health codes and things like that. So yeah, it could be, usually it would be a loose dog type thing. Any calls for service that the animal control can't handle, the sheriff's office would handle. So it could be a injured deer on the side of the road, it could be a loose dog, it could be, if we get out in the country, we get loose horses, you know, so those would all be
Right.
handled.
Yeah, cause this is looking like 3 a week. Wow, that's a lot. Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Tagging on the animal control and taking over, helping when they can't. Do the deputies have any equipment for doing that, like dog sticks or anything like that?
Yes, they have dog sticks, and we do training every year, and we try to get some animal, animal interaction training every other year, so we have a lot of mandated training we have to have for ethical standards, and then of course tactical training, things like that. So they do get trained, and they are afforded, dog sticks in their cars.
Well, one last thing, if I could, domestic assault, is that like domestic violence? That's what we're saying?
Yeah, that's, so a domestic violence would be, you know, everybody thinks of a husband-wife or a partnership, but it could be father-son. If you live in the same household, even if you're not related or in that kind of relationship, if you get into a fight, it's considered domestic assault. So that kind of gets broader than a lot of people think as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So on the annual report, and I'll try to do this kind of quick, because I know you guys have a meeting to run. I just want to highlight the fact that we've created this new document to the sheriff's office. And I put a couple in the back if anybody in the crowd would like one. Also, they are available digitally at www.stclaircountysheriff.org. The fact of the matter is they're very expensive to print, so we can't send one to every household, but they are available online. And it's a great document showing everything from statistics to employees of the year, to awards, and just highlighting a lot of things that go on at the sheriff's office. You know, people think of the sheriff's office and you think of people like Deputy Antilla, who just walked in, patrolling our streets and keeping us safe. But obviously we have a lot more going on, and we kind of have what we call two sides of the shop, and we have the road patrol, which underneath the road patrol, we also have the Marine and Dive Division support staff, and Explorer Post, which we're proud of. 5 years into Explorer Post, they went to the competition, won the Governor's Award, which was the #1 Explorer Post overall in the state of Michigan. That affords young people to learn about law enforcement, and hopefully they want to stay with us when they get a bit older. We have a detective bureau, the drug task force, special response team, an accident investigation team, negotiation hostage team, traffic enforcement, SRO, K9, on and on. There's a lot of different divisions under the road patrol side of it. The Sheriff's Office Road Patrol responded to 54,000 calls for service. And, being that you are a contracted area, we do have that broken down, as far as contracted areas and, cities, and you guys are in here, I just flipped right over to it. And it has the number of calls for service last year, 7,647 calls for service. And it breaks down through a graph, you know, the property crimes and different kinds of, like you said, domestics, disorderlies. It has it broken down that way, so you kinda get a picture of what our deputies are doing out there. And it has some photos and some highlights, and it's a great document to show, not only the work that they do, that we do, but also the community outreach in the back. You can see some of the events we attend and some fundraising we do, to try to be a positive influence on the community outside just our calls for service. And our, corrections division, you know, they work very hard as well. They don't get much love, right? People don't think too much about them. They're in the jail all day and, working hard to keep our facilities, safe, but they're in charge of, keeping our facilities safe and securing, transfers to and from jails and court, as well as facilitating the over 15 programs we have in the jail, that allow individuals in our jail to take advantage of these programs and hopefully learn some skills and some decision-making processes, so when they get out, they don't reoffend, and they become, more productive parts of our society, and we have less people being victimized, right? So they operate in there as well, and, the programs they run and the job they do is a thankless job. It's a very difficult job. I always say, you know, at least 80% of a deputy's job on the road is interacting with people in a very natural way like we are, right? We're talking, even if they're a victim of a crime, or even if they're a suspect, you know, they might, hey, I did it. And, you know, 20% of the time we're dealing with difficult people. In the jail, they're all difficult people. Because if you land yourself in our jail right now, you've made a series of decisions that are really bad. Not to say that a lot of times when individuals get in our jail in a controlled area, they become very easy to deal with, but that potential's there. So I like to highlight them because they are, forgotten often, and they work very hard, to keep our community safe. Our Marine Division responded to 189 calls for service. Our dive, team, 13 calls for service. Our Drug Task Force, the millage is up in August. I encourage everybody to get out and vote yes on the Drug Task Force millage. That millage pays for 1 lieutenant, 2 sergeants, 9 deputies, and 1 support staff for the Sheriff's Office, 2 officers for the Port Huron Police Department, 1 Clay PD officer, and 1 Marysville Police officer. Also pays for 1 prosecutor and 1 support staff at the prosecutor's office, assigned just to the Sheriff's Office. So those, individuals, along with 2 border patrol agents and 1 border and customs protection agent, who we don't have to pay the wage, are on our team, keeping our community safe. And it's not just the drugs, it's not the amount of drug raids we do, that's not the only impact we have. I often say that most crimes that aren't connected in a domestic way are related to substance abuse, and a lot of times it's not just alcohol, but drugs. People don't rob a liquor store to pay rent, right? They don't. They do it because they're desperate and they need money for drugs or debts because of drugs. People a lot of times don't break into a garage to pay the electric bill. They're stealing things to swap it for drugs and alcohol. So it's important work that the Drug Task Force does. It has a huge impact on making sure that drug dealers don't come into our communities and create other criminal activity or enterprises. And in last year alone, we took $3.5 million worth of drugs off the street. So a great impact that the Drug Task Force has, along with all the other hardworking men and women at the Sheriff's Office. And this annual report is just a snapshot of some of the great work that we do and some accolades that are due for our deputies. We also have the Sheriff app, which just got activated last Friday. You can go to the App Store and type in St. Clair County Sheriff, it'll pop up. It's an ability to go to an app, and I have it on my phone here. And you can find the sex offender registry list, find out if somebody's in the jail, find out information as to court hearings, all kinds of things that you can interact with without waiting on that phone call, right? We all get on, I don't care who you call anymore, you get on the phone and you're on the phone tree, and it's a long process. But this app really makes it quick to find out information. And it shows what we're doing more. We're just trying to become more and more transparent. So with that, I tried to make it quick. I hope it didn't take up too much of your time. If you have any more questions about the report or the app, I'd be happy to answer.
I do wanna throw something out. I don't think people quite realize the amount of people that deputies have to interact with who have some issues with, be it, emotional, disabilities, behavioral disabilities, and because there aren't enough facilities, inpatient facilities in this county or the state, you guys end up dealing with a lot of that.
Yes, and it's such important work that it really wasn't like that when I started, right, 28 years ago in law enforcement. Our deputies are highly trained, and their day-to-day is peopling, right, I call it peopling. You have to be able to talk to you in a certain way, and change and talk to you a certain way, and then when we get on a scene and we're dealing with somebody with emotional, in emotional distress, we have to understand, to try to calm them. But we also may interact with somebody with cognitive disabilities, but we have to recognize it's not the same thing, and we need to be able to communicate with them. And we have a vast amount of training that every year we try to increase the amount of training we have for our deputies as they are called upon to do more and more challenging things.
Now, we've seen you a few times at things for the art of St. Clair County.
Yep.
So I know that you guys make a difference for that community.
Thank you very
And
much.
it's hard, because like I said, the amount of inpatient facilities are slim to none.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest crises we have in our community, which becomes law enforcement is one of our biggest crises.
Exactly.
Councilman Bendis?
Well, I have two things. One is to ask, one is to make a comment. Are you satisfied with how the city supports you? And if not, what can we do more as a council in the city to give you our support in your job?
I gotta say, I've got zero complaints. The board, Ms. Pearsonberger, communication is key, and we do a great job of communicating. And, you know, we've had a couple of challenging things this year, and I've come to the meetings and tried to make sure that I handle my business, and the board doesn't have to. And then the board, if they do have questions, you contact us and you ask them. You don't jump to conclusions, and we're able to show you maybe the body cam video or explain to you the whole situation. We feel very well supported, and we love being a part of the Community Development Act, and I appreciate everybody on the board. And there's been a couple times that we didn't agree, but we're all adults, and we can figure out a solution to whatever challenge. And at least in my experience, I was captain for almost 4 years, and now sheriff for 4 years. So we're talking about 8 years of really interacting with the board in that measure. And all I ask is more of the same, and I'll ask the same of the board. If you ever need anything or find anything in a way, please contact me.
From our experience, we've experienced the same thing. We have the same positive reaction from the public that we just said, so thank you.
Thank you.
I actually have quite a question. We've been like a year and a half within our new special events ordinance where we require the safety security plans, and the sheriff's really been on board. Has that been really beneficial?
Absolutely. So last year, it was a challenge because the Pickerel Festival was altered in a way that a lot of people were uncomfortable with. And I had some tough questions to answer. And I remember being here, but I had this cocked this way so I could talk this way. I don't like having my back to you all, I'm sorry. But I had to say, like, safety and security is number one. And I promised that we would get the equipment to get it back closer to where it was for the next year, and we did that. We got the barriers up, and we were able to purchase some barriers through emergency management and get on a program where all law enforcement could use them. And I hope that it was successful, and I hope next year it's even more successful. But I appreciate the board's input and patience and being on board about safety, number one. I don't wanna go down the road about talking about horrible tragedies, but obviously, every day we see a new one, and we don't wanna be that community that says it won't happen here, and then get complacent and have it happen here. If it's gonna happen, we wanna make it very difficult and measured, so we can respond to it the safest way, to make sure that if somebody does wanna do something bad, their impact is very small, and I think planning is a big part of it.
I've noticed it. I mean, it seems to me it's been a huge success. I mean, it seems traffic's flowing smoother out of town at the end of the fireworks, and each of it, and I'm not just talking about Pickle, I'm talking about every event. It seems like we have a solid plan in place, and I do thank you and your deputies for everything you guys do.
I thank the board and the DPW and the fire department because it takes everybody, right? I don't have 30 deputies I can throw out there, but DPW and the fire department, they come out and they help, and if the board's not on board, you know, I go to a lot of board meetings, I was telling the fire chief back there, this would be, I think, 25 in the last 3 months that I've gone to. And, don't get me wrong, most of them are great, but there's some dysfunction out there. It's nice to not have that when I come here and realize, hey, we're all on the same page, which is safety and success for the community.
Just speaking for myself, I'm very satisfied with, the sheriff's office and with your job and how you deal with us and how you've, handled the city.
Thank you very much. Anybody else have anything for Sheriff King?
I just want to thank Sheriff King, as usual, for the job that they do for us. I feel very safe and secure with our citizens every day of the year because of you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Now is the time for public comment. Anybody who'd like to speak for the council, you have 5 minutes to speak. If you please state your name.
Hello, my name is Joshua Pace. Do I have to give my address? Or?
No.
Oh, Joshua Pace. I don't know if you guys remember me from a couple meetings ago. You guys do, hopefully. I have a couple questions for you to start. Are we allowed to have an open discussion, or is it all me talk and you guys can't talk back to me, can't ask questions? Because I'm willing to open up my time if you want to interrupt and go, hey, I don't think you're explaining this right. Can you, like?
Unfortunately, our typical format is you talk, we listen.
Okay,
And we can, during our council comments,
okay.
we can do that, but we're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Cause I remember last time I tried to like, hey.
We don't wanna, you're allowed to speak now, and then at the end, we're allowed to speak, but afterwards, we can meet outside if you need to speak, or.
Gotcha, I was like wondering, do I have to wait another month to reply to them?
No.
Sorry about that,
Nope.
so, again, sorry about last meeting too. So last meeting, I was concerned about my signs, they were being taken out of my yard from the city, and it was all about the right of way. And I was kinda hoping that after I talked to you guys, you said you would investigate it, that I would kinda just be left alone, I was kinda hoping that was the situation. That was not the situation, and some things have progressed since then, so I've had to do my own research, my own digging, and hopefully I can just, give you the information I found, and hopefully, without any rebuttal, I can make it understood. I don't know how.
No, please.
After the last time I was at the meeting, I didn't really touch my signs after that, I left them where they were to see if I was just left alone. And this time, I was being sent letters about my signs. Instead of them being taken from my property, I was, like I wanted to be sent letters. And the first one went as this. Of course, a recent inspection of the property addressed above noted a violation of the following City of Algonac ordinance. Section 50-456, your business signs are prohibited within the zoned residential areas. You are not allowed to advertise your business with a business sign in your yard. This is not a business district. Please remove your sign or refrain from placing them in the right of way. Now, due to the previous last problem, this was all about me putting my signs in the right of way. And in this whole thing right here is section 50, section 456, all 14 pages. And I've given this a couple reads. First things first, it starts off by saying, it is not intent of this article to have open spaces and lines of vision created by public rights of way to be used for unrestricted advertising through use of signage. So this whole thing is about just right of way, the way I'm reading this. Nothing about anything behind the right of way easement property lines. Behind that, I don't see any rules against that. So, after I got the first letter, I picked up my signs, along with the 2 political signs next to it, one for Kathy Harris and one voted for Amy Penosa. I picked them both up and I moved them behind the property line. I even have a picture on my phone with the measuring tape of the 30 feet it's supposed to be that I got a chart of. And I figured no more problems. Then came the second letter. Same thing on top. Section 50-456. You cannot permanently advertise your business in a residential area, your front yard. This, or it was a typo, it says his, but I was thinking this person meant this. This sign has been in your yard for over 7 days and needs to be removed. Additionally, an approved sign permit is required to display signs. you do not have approved sign permit application. Both of these are signed by a Lori Warner, I don't know who that is. So I did all the digging I could. But first things first, as far as the letters go, this is not my business technically. It is my family business, I'm an employee. So therefore, based on that, I should be allowed to put those signs in my yard because I am not the owner. I mean, I feel like I'm not wrong there. And, yeah, moving forward, I found articles for the area which I think it applies to me, which is temporary signage. I do not see these signs as temporary. I do plan on picking them up after the summer, fall season because it's a pest control company. I usually thrive in the summer, spring, late fall area. So I don't know if that is considered seasonal or temporary signs, but I don't see these signs as permanent. So temporary signs, I've circled and got areas where I think this applies to me. One temporary sign may be displayed for any new business or owner for a period of time not to exceed 28 consecutive days, except as otherwise permitted by city council. I remember at the, what was that?
You
You only get 5
Yeah,
minutes,
you only get 5 minutes.
but
Are we able to make a motion to extend my time?
Not typically.
But can you stay? So we can talk to you,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, stay, please.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Good evening, Council. Bernie Ferris, 669 Thompson Court. Basically, I just wanna give a big shout out to Algonac Lions Club and Dr. Brady for such a very successful car show on the boardwalk. We had over 250 cars. It was phenomenal. Everybody had a great time. It was great for the community. Whoever orchestrated the boat parade also did a great job. Just wanna give a big shout out to the people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, moving on to the city manager's report, Mrs. Gerstenberg.
Thank you, Mayor Gillis. I'd like to start off with an update on the Algonac Elementary housing update. The developer is in the process of receiving bids for the environmental study. The property is going to need to be rezoned from R2 one family residential to RM1 multiple family low rise. The application for the state tax credit program is due October 1st, which makes the schedule very tight. The rezoning would require a public hearing at the planning commission and approval of city council. The site plan approval is required by planning commission only with no public hearing required and no city council approval for that portion. Tentatively, there is a schedule. We would start, publish a notice in the newspaper July 31st. Notices would be sent to properties that are within 300 feet around August 7th. The planning commission meeting is August 26th, and the city council meeting would be September 3rd. So that's all tentative, but it's all moving forward so they can meet their October 1st deadline. The architect, the second item is the pool update. The architect will be meeting with the pool contractor team this week to discuss contract and review plans and equipment for any potential cost savings that do not impact the scope of work required by the funding. And happily, the governor signed the state budget, which confirmed that $1 million for the pool. Our third item is the Algonac Elementary gym update. We are continuing to meet with contractors. The governor also signed the state budget, which confirmed the $500,000 for the gym renovations. Now lastly, I would like to address some comments recently made on social media regarding the M29 road diet. M29 is not going to be reduced. There will be the same amount of pavement as there is now. There will still be a turn lane, despite what social media says. This is an MDOT recommended project, and it will include resurfacing of M29, upgrading all the sidewalk ramps to meet ADA standards, and conversion of the 5-lane pavement section to a 3-lane pavement section. This will improve traffic safety because traffic moves slower in narrower lanes. Slower traffic means fewer crashes. The consistency of 3 lanes means fewer opportunities for collisions. Construction started July 8th. I'm sure everyone has seen the sidewalks are all ripped up right now. And it will be followed by the milling and paving. I also would like to address some comments made on social media regarding The Corcat Properties Brownfield Plan. As you remember, on July 2nd, City Council meeting, a brownfield plan was approved for Corcat Properties to build 52 single-family homes ranging from 1,287 to 1,520 square feet in Algonac. These new homes will not be below median market value, nor will they be targeting low income, as recently suggested on social media. These new homes are expected to sell for between $275,000 and $325,000 each, which is most certainly not low income. That's all I have, Mayor Gillis. Thank you.
Question for Mrs. Gerstenberg?
Well, I'd say take him to say pool. Bye.
Cool. What day and time are they meeting? So we know, what's going on. I'm so excited to have a pool. And I want to tell everybody out there, cause I see on social media, a pool for the kids. Yeah, that's okay, the kids wanna go there. Shoot, I wanna go there. And go swimming.
In a heated pool, no
In a
less.
heated pool.
Mrs. Gerstenberg?
Thank you, Mayor Gillis. Councilman members, I don't know what day they're meeting this
Oh.
week. They're working on that, and then, we also had to submit some documents to DNR that we're waiting back for them to approve our award, so
We're just very excited.
I'm sure we all are
Yeah,
excited.
he's a little, that's not excited, obsession. is the
Obsessed,
word I would use.
obsessed, yeah.
But that's,
Any more questions for Mrs. Gerstenberg? All right, seeing none, thank you, Mrs. Gerstenberg. We will be moving on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of the regular city council minutes from July 2nd, 2024, departmental reports, light enforcement, building, DPW, finance, fire department, water department, communications and notices, the boards and commissions rosters. Under miscellaneous business, we have to approve emergency catch basin repair on Mills for $3,400. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? We're moving on to item 11A, under new business, to adopt resolution 2024-11 for authorization for expenditure of funds in excess of statutory maintenance limits for the Cartwright Drain. A recent inspection of the Cartwright Drain has determined that certain maintenance needs to be performed. The Cartwright Drain is near Summer and Scout Streets in Algonac. The St. Clair County Drain Commissioner only has the authority to expend $5,000 per mile in any 1 year for the maintenance of the drain unless the governing body of each township, city, and village affected by more than 20% of the cost provides a resolution authorizing additional expenditures. The estimated cost of the maintenance project is approximately $29,028. The attached resolution authorizes the Drain Commissioner to expend funds for this Cartwright Drain project. Algonac, Clay Township, and St. Clair County, and the landowners within the watershed are all responsible for a portion of the cost. The cost of the city of Algonac is estimated to be about $900. Can I have a motion, please?
make a motion to approve resolution 2024-11 for authorization for expenditure of funds in excess of statutory maintenance limit for the Cartwright Drain pursuant to section 196 of the Michigan Drain Code.
Support.
Comments, questions, concerns?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, when was the last time, does anybody know, when there was any maintenance work done on Cartwright Drain? Anybody know?
We're from the county drain office.
Oh, well, then, there you go.
Alright, so it's probably never been maintained. Since it
Really?
was originally constructed.
And that was
The size
when?
of the trees. I don't have the date.
Okay.
A lot of our drains, we date back to the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, yes.
Jeez.
There's one in Mussey Township, 1904 it was constructed, never been touched since. Nobody complains,
My.
so we're kind of reactionary in
Okay.
what we do, so we don't like spending the public's money without somebody complaining about it, so.
Okay then.
This is heavily wooded.
Yeah.
So that's Clay Township approved the resolution last night. We're hoping that Algonac does it as well, so we get in there, get it done, and our plan is to spray once it's maintained, back to its original design, we'll spray it so that vegetation doesn't keep coming up.
Oh,
We don't want phragmites growing back in there, we don't want the brush.
Right,
Can we just have your names?
Tony uses.
Oh, thank you.
okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Eustace? Well, thank you for coming up and answering our
Thank you.
question. questions? Hearing none, could I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Bembas.
Yes.
Councilman Carter.
Yes.
Councilwoman Davy.
Yes.
Mayor Gillis.
Yes.
Councilwoman Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item 11B is to approve the special event permit for the 56th Annual Algonac Art Fair for August 31st and September 1st, 2024. The Algonac Art Fair Committee has submitted a special event permit for the 56th Annual Art Fair at Riverfront Park on Saturday, August 31st and Sunday, September 1st, 2024. The permit application has been received and approved by administration. We are waiting for approval of the safety and security plan by the St. Clair County Sheriff. Can I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the special event permit for the 52nd Annual Art Fair at Riverfront Park, August 31st through September 1st, pending St. Clair County Sheriff approval.
Support.
I say you make Kathy say that again.
Yes, yes, a little louder, Shannon.
Comments, questions, concerns?
Excited to have it.
Yes.
And just to, give kudos to where kudos is due. I know Kathy and Chris Rob are basically running the thing, so thank you for keeping that part of Algonac alive.
That's why she.
Thank you.
That's why she doesn't have a voice.
That's fine.
So I'm glad she's doing that.
All right. We have a motion to support. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're having an art fair. All right, item 11C is to approve the water plant purchase order for chemicals not to exceed $40,000. Water Solutions Unlimited has been supplying the water plant with chemicals since April 2022. WSU provides quality products and prompt deliveries. A purchase order is requested in an amount not to exceed $40,000 from Water Solutions Unlimited from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025 to purchase sodium hypochlorite, let's just call it chlorine, fluoride, sulfuric acid, and citric acid. The last purchase order not to exceed $40,000 was approved by City Council on May 16, 2023. A large factory that manufactured chlorine shut down during COVID, which has decreased regional supplies and caused large price increases. The chemicals are purchased on an as-needed basis. This project is on the Clay Township Board agenda of July 15, 2024. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve water plant purchase of chlorine, fluoride, sulfuric acid, and citric acid from Water Solutions Unlimited, whose address is 295 Industrial Drive, Franklin, Indiana, for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, in the amount not to exceed $40,000.
Second.
Comments, questions, concerns? Mrs. Gerstenberg, did the Clay Board approve this last night?
Yes, they did, Mayor Gillis.
Thank you. Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Carter.
Yes.
Councilwoman Davy.
Yes.
Mayor Gillis.
Yes.
Councilwoman Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Martin.
Yes.
Councilman Bembas.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next up, we have accounts payable.
I'll make a motion to approve accounts payable and payroll in the amount of $239,786.96.
Support.
Comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, could I have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Davy.
Yes.
Mayor Gillis.
Yes.
Councilwoman Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Martin.
Yes.
Councilman Bembas.
Yes.
Councilman Carter.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Items for next agenda, Mrs. Gerstenberg.
Thank you, Mayor Gillis. We will have a design proposal for pavement rehabilitation on North Elm and Chestnut. We may have something for the Thai Michigan Teal campaign. And maybe we'll have an award for the pool.
How about that?
See, now we better have one.
Say
Yes.
what?
Maybe, I said maybe.
Well, then he shouldn't even went there now.
Maybe.
Really? Cause he's gonna go all kinds crazy, and I said you
No,
close to him.
it needs to be 11A on the agenda.
Really?
Okay.
Council comments? We're gonna go to council comments, get you to.
Sure.
I'm just kidding, no council members.
Ouch.
Just a couple things going on. Tomorrow at First Lutheran Church from 5 to 7:30, the church is having an outdoor barbecue. Of course, everything's free, hot dogs, hamburgers, corn on the cob. What's that? 5 to
5 to 6:30.
5 to 6:30, you know, all these years I still get the time wrong.
My
Thank you,
daughter would
Diane.
say Bevis.
I know, 5 to 6:30, all you can eat hot dogs, hamburgers, and corn on the cob. And I think Diane's making a dessert too. And on, that same time period, we'll have our diaper and clothes bank open at the church, as well as every Monday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then, it's getting that time, pickleball tournament's over, time for Halloween in the neck. And if you like Halloween, like I like Halloween and wanna volunteer to be a part of that, let me know, and we always could use some help. There you have it.
Thank you. Councilman Carter.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming. I appreciate, the representatives of the Drain Commission being here by surprise. It was very timely and good. Amazing couple weeks we've had with the pickerel tournament, the fireworks, the car show, which was amazing, the boat parade, the parade itself, and culminating with concert in the park. The last one with the Melvin Brothers was amazing. Now we'll start meeting down at Clay Township this Thursday. So, everyone be sure and keep, I've said it several times, keep an eye on your neighbors. If you see them struggling or you're concerned about them, there's plenty of people around that you can give a call to help, but check on them and make sure they're okay in this heat. Have a great week.
Councilwoman Davey.
You know what, I had said at the last meeting that I wasn't gonna comment too much on social media, but apparently this is becoming, an every meeting thing. We need to understand that social media plays a really, really big part in almost everybody's daily life, you know, it used to be, you know, you'd go there to get information about, you know, this event or that event. And unfortunately, people don't think too much before they type words in a box. And these types of things are detrimental on many levels. I want to explain a couple things to people. First of all, Denise had mentioned, the brownfield. Now, the focus of this particular funding, there had been an amendment in 2023 to change how brownfields work. And they focus more with this, it's called missing middle housing. Now, before this, brownfields were designated to redevelop and reuse old industrial sites that could be toxic or contaminated. They are not specifically used for that any longer as of 2023. The city of Algonac's main revenue source comes from property taxes. We do not have a commercial or industrial base. Now, we've been working to try to refocus a little bit and bring more families into the city to make, you know, this is the place where, you know, if you're looking for a place you wanna raise your kids, you know, we want people to look here. In the past 2 years, we've made some progress. You know, we've got our pool going. We are working on having the only, except for Washington Life Center, Marine City, the only indoor community rec center in this area. These are big things. Now, it makes me crazy, because we're trying to figure out the best ways that we can move this city forward. So, reading still, even though I've said it a million times, we are not dumping raw sewage into the North Channel. Now, I'm not saying this just for kicks and giggles, I know this. there have been, there's been times where we've had capacity issues. There have been no overflows. I think we need to make that incredibly clear again. Now, the city of Algonac, 17.5% of the residents in Algonac live below the poverty line, which is higher than the national average. To have it on social media that we may be building homes where children will play on yards with contaminated soil. Now, if I'm looking to invest in the city, that doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy. People say they wanna see this, and this happen in the city. But if these things keep going on, every time we try to make some progress, 9 times out of 10, it takes a couple careless things on social media that just knocks it down a little bit. Because the words in the box make a difference. And it doesn't matter to me if it's an election season or not. Cause this goes on all year long, somebody gets upset about something. We are trying to do good things here. It is incredibly important for people to understand these things do not help the city in any way, shape, or form. And that's all I got.
Thank you.
Very good.
Very well said.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Harris?
Thank everybody for coming. I want to give a special thanks out to Chief Joe and Nate Doan for, with my grandchildren over, taking them in the fire hall that day. That was very nice. Of course, my granddaughter calls him firefighter Chief Joe. But thank you very much for that. We had a good time at Pickle Tournament. Pancake breakfast was wonderful. We had fun. I also wanna, before we forget, that please get out and vote. And thank you all for coming and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Martin?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Algonac Lions Club for all their efforts in making the Pickle Tournament a success this year. They were lucky, we were all lucky. Weather cooperated, the parade was great, fireworks. Another positive Pickle Tournament has passed us, and I'm hoping you're up to the work of moving forward with it. And thanks to the sheriff and deputies who keep us safe. Thank you.
I'll start off with the Pickle Tournament. The Pickle Tournament was wonderful. It was a great event. Thank you to the Lions. I was there pretty much every day and enjoyed myself. Like I heard earlier, the car show was the biggest I think that we've ever seen. The parade was fantastic. I was lucky enough that I got to jump out of the parade route and watch the parade with my son, so that was fun. Speaking of the Lions, August 10th, they are having a comedy show at their club that is benefiting Bear Lake Camp. Bear Lake Camp is in a pretty amazing place, and if you ever want to follow, it's just up in Lapeer, and it's one of the only places that's set up for visually and disabled children. And they take these kids up there, they put them on, I think it's the only certified zip line for disabled children in the country. And they take these kids up there, and all it's sponsored by is your local Lions clubs. So August 10th at the Algonac Lions Club, they're having a fundraiser for them because they're trying to keep that camp going with it as good as it's going. It's a great place. What else do I got here? Last concert at the park was amazing. There had to be 1,000 people there. I stood up on that stage and I never seen anything so amazing. So thank you for everybody for coming out. We had a safe, fun night, so I appreciate that. I'd like to thank the sheriff for coming out. Our next meeting, we will be holding outdoors at Smithfield during Touch a Truck. our annual Touch a Truck event will be in Smithfield, on August sixth.
Yes.
August sixth, and we will be outdoors, so that's where you will find us. So we can have a meeting at 6 and Touch a Truck starts right afterwards. With that, motion to adjourn,
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Support?
all in favor?
Aye.
Really, guys, you made the woman no voice to the motion to adjourn.